Interior, Whistler's workshop, day. Karen leans against a packing
Wait,
crate.
are we live?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hey guys, so are we? Okay, we're just gonna jump into it. Fair, go.
Reset. Take two.
Reset. Interior, Whistler's workshop, day. Karen leans against a packing crate, watching Blade as he suits up for his nightly hunt. Strapping on body armor, loading ammunition. He pauses to inspect one of his modified mocks, sighting down the length of it.
So, am I a prisoner here?
Not at all. We just had to take certain precautions before we let you go.
Whistler fires up a cigarette, then starts nonchalantly fueling up Blade's olds.
We hunt them, you see. Moving from one city to the next, tracking their migrations. They're hard to kill. We tend to regenerate.
Clack. Blade pulls the trigger on an empty chamber, then checks his next weapon.
So, what do you use then? A stake?
Some of the old wives' tales are true. They're severely allergic to silver, various types of wood. Feed them garlic and they'll go into anaphylactic shock.
Blade picks up his customized rifle with a UV entry light, flicking on the beam.
And of course, there's always sunlight, ultraviolet rays.
Karen shakes her head, incredulous.
And you actually, honestly expect me to believe this?
You saw that thing in the tank. You want my advice? You'll be out of the city by nightfall. If you're stupid enough to stay, that's your business.
I can't just leave. I have a life here, a career.
You've been exposed to them. One way or another, somebody's going to take you out.
Karen stares at Blade, not liking the undercurrent of that. Whistler gestures to the windows.
There's a war going on out there, Blade, myself, and a few others. We've tried to keep it from spilling over onto the streets. Sometimes people like yourself get caught in the crossfire.
Whistler shrugs. As far as he's concerned, there's nothing else to say. Karen is still protesting, though.
I can go to the police. I have blood samples. I can show them.
They've infiltrated the police. You'd be dead before you could file a complaint.
That's ridiculous. No one's that powerful.
Whistler sighs. He doesn't suffer fools gladly.
You're talking about a brotherhood that predates the Catholic Church by thousands of years. Chances are you've encountered them and not even known it. On the subway, in a bar.
Blade slings his car 15 onto his shoulder, impatient. He starts toward the olds, gesturing.
Get in. You're leaving.
Wait!
Whistler tosses a small metal canister to Karen.
Consider it a parting gift. Vampire mace, silver nitrate, essence of garlic.
So that's it? You're just going to patch me up and send me on my way?
There is one other thing. I'd buy yourself a gun if I were you. If you start becoming sensitive to daylight, if you start becoming thirsty regardless of much you've had to drink, then I suggest you take that gun and use it on yourself. Better that than the alternative.
No!
And scene.
Wow, that was wonderful, everybody. That was fantastic.
Could have done the whole film. If we should have.
I got to check my computer to make sure that the movie's not still running.
Wow, how exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed that special reading of Blade.
I'm just glad I didn't burst into a coughing fit.
As I was reading, it's like at the very end, the very last one, it's like, oh, there's a typo.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
how they
David
spelled
Goyer,
it
what are you
in
doing?
Well, we appreciate you guys coming out and joining us for Blade. Unfortunately, we don't have Brian tonight, but he did send in a video we will play later during our ratings segment, and we will get that going. Noah, what do we got on the docket?
All right, so what we got on the docket is 1998's Blade, which I'm assuming everybody has watched in their free time. And of course, now it's available on Max, but I had to pay the $3 to rent it.
Apologies.
I'm not bitter, though, because it was a fantastic film. Now, Boom.
Oh,
Fire
yeah.
theory.
Fire experience. Ooh.
So,
Ah,
who seen the movie before? Who was seeing it for the first time?
I've seen it
All right,
before, but
We've all
way
seen it.
long ago.
I saw it in the theater.
Jesus. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. What did it 99?
98.
98?
98.
Yeah. I did not see it in theater, but I definitely watched it at a super young age, and rewatching it last night made me realize I should not have been allowed to be exposed to this. I did not remember how gory this film was.
I honestly, I could not remember whether I had seen it or not until it kind of started and things kind of started coming back to me. But how I saw it, I don't recall.
Oh, I recall my best friend Lauren and I used to have this thing called a Blockbuster card. And my dad used to let us go get whatever. So we would always try to find like the worst movie, like the rated R, like full of sex, violence, drugs, murder. We like pushed that to the limits. And this was definitely on that list for sure.
Jake, have you seen this before?
Yeah, I saw it the first time I saw it. I was 11. This is
How
like
old are you, Jake? You and
I'm
Noah are
30.
like
Jake is 12.
Yeah,
So he's
you're
12.
older than Noah? Okay.
yeah, I'm 6 years older than Noah. I'm 32.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were like 21.
Not see this.
I'm the baby of the group.
This is a twist I did not see coming.
Yeah,
That's a different story.
Okay.
That's Shyamalan. We're different movie club.
All right, so yeah, I was 11 when I first saw it. This was like a couple months after Blade 2 came out in theaters. So yeah, I mean, basically what happened was I recently found out that Blade was based on a Marvel character, and so yeah, I asked my mom if we could rent it from Blockbuster, and she said yeah, regardless of the R rating, the violence, anything like that.
God bless Blockbuster.
Yeah,
Amen.
Blockbuster was the shit, and so yeah, this again, 2002. This is like right around the time comic book movies were starting to make their big comeback. We'd already gotten the first X-Men and Spider-Man movies, and yeah, I wanted to see Blade.
I probably saw it in 2001, 2002 also. So it sounds about
So it sounds like
It came out right around this time of the year in 1998. I do remember that.
Yes.
I think it came out like right the same week, in fact, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow.
Is that why you...
we were so close to an anniversary episode.
August
But this
21st, 1998.
There you go. See a
Very
few days
close.
off.
I was a few days off with today.
Today's the 30th.
All right, close enough.
30th. Sorry.
Close enough.
Send those rent checks, everybody.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I probably saw it once since, but I don't think I've seen it.
I remember we used to watch this like a lot. And so I was actually really shocked when I didn't remember Pearl at all. So when I saw Pearl, I was like, whoa, nothing is up there. Like nothing's in there. But we love Blade. Like we used to quote Blade a lot. Yes. Yes.
That's right. This was a creepy little. That was a creepy little segment, by the way.
IMDb said that it took like 4 people to like.
Yeah.
So I guess that there was so much like
Fat
latex and costume, yeah, and so they had kind of like puppeteering. So they had to, and then they built the set around Pearl too. Like they basically had this creature, and then they just had to build the set around it, and then they had all of these puppeteers working to try and keep this thing alive. And apparently, based on my very limited research, I guess the character was supposed to be like just this glutton that has been like eating kids and
Their hearts.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing. So I'm glad they kind of didn't put that in the film itself. But I mean, even though I was really wondering, it's like, why is he so fat? And as much as you want to know that, once you kind of know that backstory, it's like, oh no, that would have been a little too much.
I think the implication is much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott in chats, the Blade movies are regulars that we watch. Like, how often do people watch these films? I'm just so curious. I mean, I watched them a lot as a kid. I assumed because of the gore. I was like a baby gore hound. And ironically, now I don't really watch a lot of gore. Talking about baby gore, did we see the like the metal babies, the metalcore babies in the movie?
The what?
Metalcore babies.
The little Japanese girls who were singing.
yeah.
Baby
metal.
core. Yeah, so baby metal like that, like in the 90s, I guess it was like just kind of starting to come out, and it's pretty popular now. I mean, it's not my thing, but
Not mine.
You what, Marilyn?
Not mine, and probably not ours either, because we didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, that's an excellent. We can start talking about
The plot.
Plot.
Yeah,
plot discussion.
Plot discussion.
I love the plot, and it honestly, like, it holds up still. Like, when the movie ended, I was pretty satisfied with the plot. It's a pretty straightforward plot. What are y'all's thoughts on the plot?
I think there were a lot more plot holes than I remembered the last time I watched this all the way through.
Give me an
Vampire movie.
example.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like they didn't do. I mean, this isn't necessarily a plot hole. I just feel like they could have, like, done a better job, kind of like, explaining like the world that they live in. Like just like the idea, like, you have this like high council of vampires, right? The descendants of the House of Erebus or whatever it is, and how apparently they have like a treaty with humans, but we don't really see like all the ramifications of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't see that, and I didn't understand. Do they explain how a vampire is born?
Right.
No, they don't.
Why are vampires being born?
So they do talk about like the aging slower than humans.
Yeah.
And a lot of vampire lore is if like a child gets bit, they stay that age forever.
Right. This is not that. You could get born a vampire and then just become an adult.
Yeah, I realized that they kind of did away with a lot of the folklore, and one of them being the cross, because what if a vampire is Jewish was one of the explanations.
Yeah.
So I see that and I understand it, and but my whole thing too was like, all right, they're talking about how they're born vampires, but he's bitten, so he's not
Pure blood.
royalty, if you will.
Yeah.
But there's never an explanation, and I'm assuming that they probably overshot on this and started cutting in different spots that left those plot holes.
That makes sense. And
Or
back
like
to
vampire
the
treaty.
Well, and I don't know how much of the comic they also include. I didn't read the comic.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
did.
I'm wondering if they include,
Jake, I did.
A little bit, yeah.
they include some of the comic lore into the movie.
Well, I mean, some of it, the idea of like, Blade's mom being bit while she's like, about to give birth. That's that's how Blade looks in the comics, you guys.
Wesley Snipes looks way cooler.
Yeah. I think they based his
will-
likeness on Jim Brown. Yeah, this is when he first started doing his own like ongoing series in the mid 90s. I think 94 is when this one came out. This is like late 90s, 98.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely 90s artwork.
But yeah.
Getting better, closer, warmer.
Yeah.
Going back to your thing, Marilyn. So originally, like Nosferatu, like one of the first, like Dracula. Well, Dracula is the first vampire we really get. So that was actually like a racist like thing against the Jewish culture, and so that's why the cross was used to fight vampires away, because a lot of racist was it racist religion?
I mean, I think it was more like towards like, like
racist.
otherness, like treating like Eastern Europeans like they were like, others, like they were like about as far removed from the norm as you could get, something along those lines.
I mean, it's very specifically like the Jewish community. Like the vampires were like slightly based off of like a very like racist like view of what a Jewish person looks like. That's why like Nosferatu's like nose is the way it was, and like the ears, and kind of like the early balding, like a lot of Nosferatu's stuff was, hey Brian, what's up?
Brian,
Have fun wherever you is. But yeah, so I find that interesting that in this, like, that the cross doesn't work, which is nice because it's kind of like taking that back, like, which is great, especially like the fact that Blade is black. Like, yeah, it's a lot of tearing down those like stereotypical racistness about vampires.
The girl who played, this is sort of a side fact, not to do with the plot necessarily, but I'll forget. The girl who played the lead, which we can get to her later,
Karen.
She had mentioned, and I don't know how true this is, but she had mentioned this was the first time there was a black female lead playing against a black male lead in I don't know if it was an action movie or maybe it was just a comic book movie, but it was the first time, according to her.
I do know that in the history, in the details of it, it did mention that they wanted an Asian woman to play that part, but Wesley Snipes wanted to have a black woman having played that part.
Yeah.
I think it worked really well.
Let's bring Pat on. Pat's joining the stream tonight because we didn't have a full house, so Pat was in the car earlier and he had to get home. So let's bring Pat on. Sorry, Pat.
I was waiting for a good segue so I could do like here to bring his here's
gone.
Oh, where'd he go?
I brought him on and you took him off, so you guys bring him on.
What is this?
There he is, Mr. Patchan.
There he is. Say that.
Everybody.
Welcome to our dysfunctional family.
He writes our Van Helsing comic book series for years. He writes a lot of vampire lore for us. So Pat is a good guest to add to our stable. Pat, we are on plot discussion. I don't know if you saw this movie before. Have you seen Blade? You have seen Blade.
Oh yeah.
The plot we were discussing. Do you have anything to say on the plot?
The plot. I mean, I love how 90s it is. It feels less like a superhero movie to me, and more like, in line with Interview with the Vampire, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Even kind of like The Craft has similar, 90s horror vibes, which I love as a 90s kid myself. The action's cool. CGI is crazy bad, but plot-wise, I really enjoy it. Of all the films that I've seen with you guys for the club, I'd say it's probably my favorite one.
And kind of getting to that, it's like it was the typical Godfather of and having the 12 apostles, if you will, and the one Godfather who is like negating the young one of the group, who's not really part of the group because he's not full-fledged vampire, but who's got the knowledge of technology today and how much further they can go. But he wants world domination, which we all know it's like that kind of goes bad in the end anyway. But I think the older guy just didn't give him enough credit either. It's like, they just want to stick to the old ways. It works. Let's stick to it. And there's not to say that you can't grow as, technology grows, it's like we're all talking about that right now, but as actors, but there's, things have to be put into place as well.
So yeah, and that's in terms of like characters. I thought that all of like the Council of 12 or whatever, you probably saw, Marilyn, on IMDb, one of the goofs, which I picked up on right away in the movie. The one girl, she's like, well, if you're not with us, screw you. And she kills one of the elder vampires. I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. They needed 12 of these guys. Now they got 11.
That's another plot hole.
That's I
ruined
that. And I was that, from then on, I'm like, but wait a minute, they couldn't have done it because they didn't have the 12, or did they bring more than 12 there?
Like, okay, you're off, you're on deck, you're in the hole. We got you on the roster.
Yeah.
Are there any other vampire stories with this with this plot, like a halfling like that avenges humanity? I don't I can't think of any. I feel like the plot is pretty solid. Like it's a
I
really
know.
good story.
I think I always wondered why he was so powerful.
Oh, I know why he's powerful, but I don't understand because he got best of both worlds.
He's powerful because he can walk. He's a day walker.
Yeah.
And he has all the strength of a vampire.
Remember their weaknesses is second verse.
But like that shouldn't make you that much more powerful. It just makes you walk through it.
That's true because he seems stronger than a normal vampire.
Yeah, he's like
he's also trained his whole life
Right.
to kill vampires.
yeah.
That's how I take it.
No,
Yeah, he's a ninja. He's Bruce Lee vampire.
Yeah.
Because it was Whistler who found him.
Yeah.
And so from then on, and Whistler was a vampire hunter, and so trained him from the moment that he found them.
Yeah.
Well, what's our next segment? Is it characters?
Yeah.
We're on characters. Well, we were talking about Deacon Frost, so I figured now would be an perfect opportunity to jump in and focus more on the characters. But in terms of Deacon Frost, Jake had posted this was one of his original appearances. So they went for in the movie. Version. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That was like right before he's about to kill Blade's mother in the comics. Yeah.
Yeah,
but in the movie, he's got the cool hair. He's got he comes in, he lights a cigarette. Yeah.
Stephen Dorff.
This is what like births Twilight. Look at that. Like straight up. Yeah. Look at that sunscreen.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have to wear a lot of sunscreen and makeup, and they can be daywalkers too.
Yeah, everybody's a daywalker.
Like that part to me was dumb.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch.
I was like, why are you trying to take his blood away if all you guys do is some sunscreen?
Yeah.
If the sun kills you, it would affect your eyeballs too. That's my theory.
Right?
I'm sure it would affect you so much more. Like instead of them wearing all that gear, why don't they just wear some sunscreen?
Right, wear sunscreen.
Yeah. It's film. Yeah. Film. Oh, I had the word in my head and I just lost it.
But when they pull his teeth out, and then like that part's crazy. That part's crazy. Like
the vampire on vampire torture, you know, it's like even driving him out and like leaving him there for the sunrise. I thought like that's pretty badass.
I thought so too. I thought so too.
Can we talk? Since we're on characters, can we talk? Well, we should talk favorite characters besides Blade. Yeah. Favorite and least favorite, because I have a least favorite.
Me too.
My least favorite is the something about Mary girl when she's got her hair gel. I'm wearing this.
Think about Mary. Was Cameron Diaz in it?
No, the little blonde. The blonde and Blade, the blonde that has like her hair is like slicked back with like this crazy 90s gel that just looks like something about Mary.
I think her name is Mercury, right?
Tracy Lords is in this movie. I don't know if you guys remember Tracy Lords.
Yeah.
I know you know who Tracy Lords is. Don't play games.
I don't.
She's just right in the very beginning.
She was a porn star back in like the 90s.
Oh, is she the Russian?
No, she's the very beginning. She like takes the guy to the club.
Yeah, she's Russian.
Russian?
I mean, she was speaking Russian.
Which was a cool scene. I like that scene.
Dude, this is like the most 90s scene ever. It's like the music to Blade, the soundtrack is absolutely banging. And like it's still banging. Like 30 years later?
Apparently they wanted the Prodigy originally to do the soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know the Prodigy, you know that's 100%.
I mean, like that sounded an awful lot like Smack My Bitch Up at the beginning during that scene.
Yeah.
Same hook,
wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess they couldn't get the rights.
Not allowed to say that.
Yeah. No, but that scene is like, that's what I remember when I think of Blade. I think of like that scene.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's watched the FX show, What We Do in the Shadows, there's a whole plot line where they do a vampire nightclub and they want to install blood sprinklers like Blade. But they keep clogging, so they never actually work.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I missed that part, and I love that show.
So, Ralph, who's your favorite and who's your worst?
All right, so my favorite, I think, it was probably Chris Christopherson as Whistler, because he's just that, he's awesome. He's the best.
Yeah.
I always like those characters too, when you have like the old grizzled dude who's like knows a lot. And he's he's a great actor. And then the worst is by far, there's no close second, was the girl. No offense to her, but the lead actress, this girl, very pretty, but terrible actor. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. Like, just bad. Every time, I mean, I don't remember her being that bad when I first saw it, but like took me out of it a lot. Like she had no like charisma. It was weird. It was a weird casting decision.
I didn't have a problem with her, honestly.
Really? I don't know. I don't want to rip the girl. She's probably very sweet. I don't think she did a movie after this, so it proves my point.
No,
but
she
like,
did.
She did? You sure? Okay.
I did, because I looked them all up. Well, not all of them, but like the major characters.
It wasn't anything I heard of.
But she hasn't done anything since 2018 or something like that. She doesn't have much lately. So.
Well, I thought she was stiff. Just didn't seem to work. I don't know what you guys thought.
All right, Jake, your favorite, least favorite.
Yeah, I agree. Whistler is probably my favorite character. He's got some of the best one-liners in all three Blade movies. Just especially like this one, the catch you fuckers at a bad time.
Oh wait, Whistler comes back?
You haven't seen the sequels?
I thought I did, but
We're talking about the sequels. We're not talking about the sequels.
Whistler was dead in this movie. Okay, sorry.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No spoilers.
I assume he comes back to the vampire.
Yeah, but I just like the idea of if he's got that gruff exterior. He seems like kind of a dick at first.
Rad.
Yeah, but it's like you can tell he's a good dude at heart. You can tell that he genuinely thinks of Blade like a son, even though he never says as much out loud. So yeah, go for it. What?
Oh no, I was just gonna say the attention to like building his character, like when he first is like patching the girl up, you see he's got the wedding ring still on his finger.
Yeah.
And then there's the scene when he's filling up the Oldsmobile or whatever it is, and he's just sloshing the gasoline all over the place, and then throws a cigarette in his mouth and lights
and he's
it
got
up.
Cancer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the most like, who the hell, like, who is this guy who doesn't give two shits? But then they expand on the wedding ring thing. You get this backstory and everything about. So I completely agree with you guys. He was just very well developed, and it kind of unraveled as the movie went on.
Yeah, and I don't think I knew this beforehand, but apparently, so David Goyer, writer, he created him for the movie. He wasn't in the comics, but before the movie came out, he actually made his first appearance in Spider-Man the Animated Series. The 90s cartoon, and that's what he looked like in the 90s cartoon. Yeah. And that's Blade. This is Blade in the cartoon too.
That's cool.
With his lightsaber.
His lightsaber, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I loved the sword. The little bit when she's like, and she's playing around with it, and it does the.
They use that a lot. They would call back to that sword about 10 times that movie.
Yeah,
it was like 4 times, but yes, as they should. That thing was awesome.
It
and
was.
I love when like
It
a
wasn't
very
10,
saves them. Yeah.
I got his pig stick, man.
Mm.
I got his pig stick.
Speaking of which, it's funny you should say that. Which brings me to my least favorite character, Quinn.
Really?
How can you say that?
Did not stand Quinn in the slightest, and I see Sarah in the comments. I know she said he's the top hunk. Oh God, where's her comment?
Now I don't know about the hunk necessarily, but I will say Quinn for the win.
I love the gag of him constantly getting messed up.
But that's another freaking plot hole, man. Like, okay, so it's like, his death, when he finally, when Blade finally kills him, it's so anticlimactic. It's like, all he does is what? He takes out like the silver Garrett or whatever and just like beheads him, and then he just turns to ash.
Yeah, but then he gets his sunglasses.
Like, why did you have such a hard time killing him before? Like,
love-hate relationship.
Mixed. Oh my God.
Pat, who are your favorites, Pat? And chat.
Real quick.
Chat, put your favorites and least favorites, chat.
All right, I'm gonna say favorite is Frost. I think that he is, just a cool, badass villain. He kind of ties into the theme of subversion of a vampire myth that we have going on here. The sunscreen thing doesn't work. But Blade throughout, it takes these ideas that we know about vampires and challenges them. The cross, the sun, and this guy, he kind of stands against the old order of vampires who are just, some stuffy old bitches. And then on the least favorite side, I hate to gang up, but I'm gonna agree with Ralph and say that it's Karen. I think that if I were Blade, I would have got bored with her after a while and been like, I can't do this anymore,
I can't hear you read these lines anymore. No. Next, Krystle, who are your favorite and least favorite?
I think Frost, other than Blade, I would say probably Frost. I agree with Pat. I think he's just like so 90s.
Yeah.
There's a doctor that turns into a zombie of sorts after the vampire bite. Oh my god, I love
that. Was a weird scene, but sorry, let's go back.
Do you ever have second thoughts about us? I love that line. That line cracks me up.
How did he get there, though? That's interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Krystle.
They found him and then starved him. That was weird.
They're like, we're gonna get her here sometime, so let's get that doctor.
They never explain it.
Yeah, another plot hole for Jake. But yeah, I think that my least favorite character was by far Pearl. Pearl was so creepy, and I just like the noises that Pearl made while he was getting fried, or just so creepy, and everything about Pearl was terrifying.
Oh yeah, I kind of agree actually. Jesus Christ, yeah.
Poor Pearl.
Yeah, no. So those are my two.
Marilyn.
I forgot Pearl. That's true.
I know you agree with me.
Yeah, definitely Whistler is my favorite character because, like Noah said, very, very well rounded. And one of the information on him is that he's never taken an acting class at all. Christopherson.
Oh.
No acting lessons whatsoever.
Wait, who did he play?
You either have it or you don't. That's what I say.
Oh,
Whistler. Now, as far as least favorite character, though, it's like, all right, in what way? Acting? Character you didn't like? Or just, because it's like, as everybody was talking, it's like, oh, okay, I see that. But for different reasons. Because, yes, I really did not like the Pearl character in because of what it kind of stood for, especially finding out the details on that. Karen, she didn't bug me so much. But she was all right. Oh my gosh, Frost's sidekick.
Brian. So Brian's favorite is Whistler, least favorite Frost. Sorry, go ahead.
But the sidekick, Quinn.
Yeah.
He bothered me, but he didn't bother me. Because it's like, as a character and what he was doing with that character totally fit. It was on point. But like you said, it's like he had so much trouble trying to kill him. Blade had so much trouble trying to kill him, and all of a sudden, boop, no problem. It's like as if he was a cat playing with his with the mouse, just kind of taking little bits and pieces of him.
I feel like that's what he was doing.
I was like, I feel like that's very much, yeah. And
I like that. Of all the gags, I think that was the funnest.
I think so too. Have you guys ever seen Gotham?
Yes.
He was in Gotham.
Yes.
Oh, he was what's his face? Harvey Bullock, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been around.
Well, apparently they let him ad lib like a lot of his lines, if not.
Well, yeah, he was a very minor character, but they loved him so much that they just let him ad lib, and that made his character even more so.
Okay, talking about ad lib, my least favorite line of the entire movie was from Blade, and it's like right at the end where he says, "Some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill."
Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
Well, apparently the story behind that one is that's how like Blade was describing Deacon Frost, or that's how Wesley Snipes was describing Deacon Frost like behind the scenes to Stephen Dorff, and David Goyer liked it so much that they just like wrote it into the movie.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was so dumb.
There was a lot of weird lines. Scenes.
Well, while we're talking about it,
Real quick, I wonder if Brian his least favorite.
That was
character,
my least favorite scene.
I'm assuming Brian's least favorite character was Frost, because I wonder if he means like the character itself or Stephen Dorff as Frost. But continue. Scene.
It was hot. Very hot. Very 90s, like the hair.
Least favorite scene and least favorite scene.
Anybody and throw your quotes in there too.
Any quotes?
I don't know if it's like my favorite scene. It's probably not my favorite, but a scene that I definitely got like really jazzed up about was Actor 2. Was the Vampire Bible and how they had it displayed, and how I don't know, it just like old old scrolls and tombs, and I just thought that was really, really awesome. And they didn't, I don't know, I think it made the whole movie kind of like level up a little bit in my mind personally.
Oh, I will say some of the there were some things that were just so beautifully shot that I was not expecting. Like there's the scene when they kind of like put him in like the Iron Maiden, like the sarcophagus thing, and the blood is being extracted. That was just really, I don't know, it was interesting to look at.
To watch them drain the blood.
It's painful to watch.
It's painful, absolutely. But the way that, I don't know, all of the blood coming down and that ritual scene is very cool. The scene where he's driving out into the sunlight and like everything is just so overexposed and white. There were just small little moments like that where I'm like, wow, this is pretty impressive. I like this shot. Hat off to you, sir.
To you, sir.
Me?
Yes, Pat. You, sir.
I'm trying to think of any bad scenes that I didn't like. There were elements of certain scenes that stood out in a bad way, like the climax, all the cartoon blood didn't really kind of to me.
I agree.
The climax itself was good enough, like it was a good fight. I think that the actual practical effects and the stunts were cool, but the scene really, really took me out. Favorite scene though, that opening scene with the club and the blood, like a 90s sort of like erotic club scene just hits right for me, and it got the movie started off to a really interesting way. And the actual raining down blood, that stands in contrast to the cartoon blood in a really, really big way. It was
Pat's a sucker for erotic blood.
Exactly, yeah. It felt it flipped this scene in a really interesting way because it starts out and it's all like sexy vampires, and then the blood and him like slapping around, crawling around, it makes you feel gross. It reminds you that these are monsters, So that was a really impactful scene to me.
I agree with Pat's two scenes. I think my favorite is that opening scene. It's pretty cool. It's the blood coming out, the fighting, the choreography of fights in this whole movie was really well done. I mean, it's not dated. It really looks great.
It does.
I gotta say, like, even though the effects are dated, and you can go, and that's what brings me to the ending fight. I wasn't really feeling it. Felt a little corny because of the fakeness took me out of it. The digital effects took me out of it a little bit. It was Stephen Dorff, like that character was kind of, to me, just never. He didn't match Wesley Snipes' badassery. Like I just felt like they needed somebody a little bit more badass, to be honest. But the ending scene was fine. I just probably not for a climax. We could have done better.
I didn't say my least favorite. Real quick, my least favorite scene was when Blade's mom is sexing him up and him. Like that was that I didn't like that. I didn't like that more than any of the Pearl scene, actually.
I will say it brought like a very Greek tragedy thing to the whole, story. A very Oedipus.
Frost his daddy, dude, daddy Frost,
right? You've been trying to kill your dad, your pseudo dad, this whole time. That's insane.
Daddy. I feel like is this where like the fetish comes in? Like, is this the beginning of like the fetish stuff?
Yeah, I was weird. Brian agrees. Frost was a weak character. He's right.
Right.
He's weak, and he'll never amount to nothing.
You're weak. Weak.
Tough.
Yeah.
Young man. Okay, so
But-
what do we got?
Well, I'll go. It's like because it's like there were just moments of certain scenes that I just kind of enjoyed, like in the very beginning when the cops come charging into the club and they start shooting on Blade, and he's like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" Or damn mind, he says actually. And then I kind of love the part where they have Blade and he's laughing, and they're like, "Well, why are you laughing?" Because he has the earpiece and knows that Whistler is coming to come day. And I thought, now, even though the CGI effects were kind of in and out for me,
They were in and out. There were some decent.
Yeah, because I loved the way that when Blade would get one of the vampires and they would just kind of fizzle out. Loved that.
Yeah.
And I really loved the skeletal bats coming out of the people once they were hit with the blood and all that kind of stuff. I kind of like that.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too. And also, if you like slow it down and look at it, there are like two skulls. So there's like a human skull, and then the vampire skeleton breaks out. So there's like multiple layers.
Yeah.
And it's just, it looks like a PlayStation game, but it doesn't bother me. None of the bad effects actually bothered me.
Okay, I have
I
a
don't know
question for
why.
y'all. So I want to hear each of your answers really quick. So the beginning, like Blade was eating like homeless people to kind of like, stay alive.
Yeah.
Who would you guys eat?
What?
Yeah, like if you were a kid vampire and like didn't have like, yeah, because like you have to eat for subsistence or you'll die. So like, who would you eat? Where would you go to find your prey? Like, what would
I try to eat no one and try to eat animals, but even though I know that's kind of bad, and it's still bad, but it's like it's the lesser of evils. I don't know, and that still doesn't sound right.
Again, they don't really establish the rules. Like if it's like a Buffy type situation where it's like once you become a vampire, you you lose your soul and you don't discriminate over like who you feed on.
Right.
Or if you still have a conscience.
Yeah, because my mom was totally like kind of brainwashed.
Yeah.
So, but who would I eat? I'd probably like I don't know, somebody I don't like.
Would you start following like the Bentleys and the Rolls Royces to their homes and like snack?
I'd be a little baby crawling around eating some a-holes. Brian eat coma patients. There you go.
Yeah.
This is not a bad one. Not a bad one.
I would go to Zenescope VIP convention.
And eat who?
The fans.
You eat my fans?
Spare the Cooksons, please.
Son of a bitch.
Leave the Cooksons alone.
I just threatened our VIP fans to eat them.
So come on down to Zenescope's upcoming VIP event. Meet artist writer Pat Shan.
VIP event.
Blood.
Pat, I could not have asked for a better answer. That was great.
Well, thank you.
That is like you see the autograph line. Like there, wow, all the people are going in for autographs. I'm not seeing them come out though.
Thanks.
Thank you for threatening to eat our fans.
I would like Dexter it up. I would straight up Dexter it up.
But if you're a baby,
bad guys, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Right.
Oh yeah, you just go eat like pedophiles and shit. Go to
Just go to the AA meetings, sit and like listen to like the worst stories and like whoever and then follow people.
But in saying that, you want to make sure that you don't turn them into vampires.
Wow, yeah.
That's a really good
yeah,
call.
pedophile vampires would be
because of no more fans.
Because we ate all.
Listen, we're running low on time. I know Marilyn is hard out. Let's get Brian's video queued up so we can get his. And then we'll do our ratings after Brian's video.
All right, queuing up Brian's video.
Brian's video.
Where is Brian? Why couldn't he come?
He didn't want to talk to you anymore.
That's fair.
He's working.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, it's like I can't work with that Krystle. He's on a project of some sort, so he's working, but he's also sneaking
All right,
away.
Want me to show
Play.
this?
Yep.
All right, playing Brian.
Here we go. I know. Okay.
I couldn't make the show today. I'm actually filming something today.
What?
It's
Is that
SAG
serious?
waiver and everything, so it's all legit. So don't be saying I'm scabbing or anything. And that's also the reason you see me in the way I'm looking right now. So anyway, we're going to talk about Blade. I remember when this movie came out in '89. It was Wesley Snipes getting into action, using his martial arts skills. He's an actual 5 Dan black belt in karate and in jiu-jitsu. So good seeing using his skills from the great, 1973, I think it was, superhero from Marvel of Blade, Vampire. So that's really, really cool. I've always been a fan of vampire genre in general, except Twilight. I'm not a big fan of that. Anyway, loved the movie. Remember seeing it with friends when it came out in theaters. I haven't seen it in a while, so I rewatched it this week. It was nice to see it again. Had some kind of science nerdy kind of twist to it when it came to the vampire thing, which I thought was kind of cool. Where the enzymes in the blood can be fought with a non-clotting agent, whatever it was. Anyway, so best parts were obviously Wesley Snipes, and his action scenes were always great. And also the fact that it moved pretty quickly. It was never slow in it, which I thought was really cool, and helped move along the story. And then some of the best quotes out of it, I can't think of right now, but some quotable stuff. Not crazy memorable, but some really good quotable stuff. Performances were outstanding, I thought, in the sense of what they did with it. And so now we're going to talk about the ratings real quick. I don't know what you guys are choosing today. I'm going to choose fangs or steaks or whatever. I will give this a really good, I'd say 3.75. It's a fair enough one. It's not a movie that I'd be like, oh my God, I got to watch it again. And it's not a movie where I'm like, oh, turn it off, it's awful. So they did 3 of them. So I never saw the other 2. So I never saw part 2 or part 3. But the original always holds up well. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I look forward to being back for next month's Zenescope Movie Club. Miss you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon. Peace.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh, roll that beautiful bean footage. Brian, I took pictures. I love your stash. That is love. And then Rad said, that's a stunt double.
All right, so because I've got to leave in 5 minutes because I got to pick up my car. Okay. I enjoyed the film, and this is something that should have been really up my alley because I kind of love, vampire films and shows and things like that. But like Brian said, it's like I wouldn't want to really watch it again. So I'm going to be very kind of neutral and put it at a straight 3.
That's fair.
I'm going to give it, because I watched it so much as a kid and it just has a lot of memories tied to it. I will say I loved Wesley Snipes and Tu Wong Fu way more. Noxina Jackson is
well, you're not supposed to compare it to Tu Wong Fu.
You can actually. He's actually more ripped in Tu Wong Fu, I would say, but that's neither here nor there. You see more of him in Tu Wong Fu. I'm gonna because when I rewatched it, I wasn't when it ended, I wasn't like, oh my God, that was the best ever. And because I let so many years go between the watching, so clearly I don't have a strong pull in me to watch it. I'm gonna give it a 4.25.
That's pretty high.
It's really high, and most of that's from nostalgia. Like most of that's just because as
It's
a
like
kid, I love that.
Very nostalgic score.
Yes, and it is. It is like 98, and like I said, like yeah, I saw it in 91 or 2001, 2002. Those are my best times, man. I was a little teenager shithead. And...
I'm just gonna say, sorry guys, I gotta skedaddle.
Love you.
Bye, Marilyn.
Marilyn.
Thanks for coming.
Pat, do you want to go?
I do. All right, so I'll say this. I have watched 3 vampire films as a part of the Zenescope Movie Club. I watched Lost Boys, piece of shit. Watched Fright Night, pretty good. Now Blade. I'm gonna say this.
Wait, time out. You thought Lost Boys was shittier than the other one?
Oh yeah, I think that Lost Boys is a bad
Hate
movie.
Lost
It's a good movie. Yeah, yeah.
Hate it, Lost Boys.
I love Lost Boys.
I like it too. I don't know how you hate it.
I think I hate it because of how it is a piece of shit. Okay.
Okay.
But Blade. Okay. As different as my opinion on Lost Boys is the Crystals, I did some math here. Okay. I would have said because I was thinking that we were doing it out of 10, so I quickly did a division here. My score is
No!
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Blade was the shit in the 90s, man. And I will say a big part of my score is the plot. Like, I really don't know another vampire movie where it's like a halfling, like a half-blood who like fight. Like, it's like a really fresh story. So
What? Okay, who's next? Quickly.
No.
I'll jump in here. I'll say this was the first time that I've seen this movie. Never seen Blade before. I was skeptic going in, but I was pleasantly surprised. This was an absolute blast. It kicked all sorts of ass. This was like David S. Goyer's, like, because he went on to go do the Batman Dark Knight Christopher Nolan trilogy, and I can kind of see that this is pre-Batman Begins Batman. You know, like Blade was very much kind of like a Batman type character. I don't know. It kicked all. I loved it. I'm giving it a 4. Not going to give it a 4.25 because it wasn't. I don't know, but 4.
Because you're young. It's fair.
Because I'm young, sure. But like I said,
the
EDM and the special effects didn't bother me at all. I thought that was a blast.
And that's awesome coming from a youngling. So.
Why would that bother you? Sorry, Jake.
And real quick on Brian's note, there was slight karate in Tu Wong Fu. Just go ahead, Jake. And Jake, do you have COVID? Are you dying?
No, I don't have COVID. It's just a cold.
You have COVID. Okay.
I had COVID like over a year ago now, but yeah. Anyway, okay. So yeah, What, Ralph?
I said we'll talk about Jake's COVID experiences.
Yeah.
No, right. Kidding.
All right, so yeah,
Welcome to the
honestly, not as good as I remember. I have to be honest about this. It wasn't. I mean, like, yeah, ripe with plot holes. The action's good. I mean, yeah, and the CGI, man, just really missed the mark in a lot of ways, even for like a movie that came out over 20 years ago. It's just, yeah. I mean, Wesley Snipes is good. I mean, I like the idea of like, Blade being like, this person who doesn't fit into either world. He's not really a vampire, but he's not really a human either. And you see that manifest in a lot of different scenes, especially like the one like where he's like talking with Karen after Whistler kind of explains his origins. And so, yeah, he was good. Frost is an okay villain, mainly because Stephen Dorff just has a very punchable face. Yeah, so I think for me, yeah, I mean, I hope, and I would have liked to have seen the world explored more, and just like, they're just explaining like, the relationship between vampires and humans, and I hope,
it's 2 hours. It's a 2-hour movie.
And they should
them to add more.
That's plenty of time. That's plenty of real estate.
A series of Blade would be awesome, by the way. Sorry.
A TV series?
Yeah.
There was a TV series. It only lasted for 1 season, but it was on. Yeah.
Well, they made it better, though.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I was gonna say I hope like, once Marvel does the reboot with Mahershala, they fix a lot of those mistakes and they
he does not have a Blade face. His jaw is not strong enough.
He might not have Blade face, but he's an awesome actor.
He is.
You gotta have a chiseled face.
And he better say this line from the comics: "Scratch one Big Daddy vampire, or I'm not buying a ticket."
Mm-hmm.
Are you really?
All right, Jake. What's your review?
Some motherfuckers are always trying to skate uphill.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna go 3.25.
It's pretty good for.
That is pretty good. Yeah, that's
Especially for not liking it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty good.
It's okay. Not
I
great.
guess I won't say anything that hasn't been said. It was a good movie. Wesley Snipes the best. I don't know what happened to him. I guess he got arrested in mid 2000s and disappeared for a while.
Yeah,
that was a big
tax evasion.
Tax evasion or something. Yeah. The girl took me out of it. She was really not good. That was a problem for me. Knocked us down a little bit. Steven Dorff as a bad guy. I like him as an actor. As the bad guy, the big bad was a little corny.
Yeah, Twilight.
I think I'm gonna go 3.5 with Blade. Good movie. Not great, but good. Would watch. Would recommend.
Yeah.
We're in the same range here, I think.
We're in the same range, but I didn't love it. I think I liked it more when I watched it the first time in theater when I was, a young man.
Oh, hands down. Hands down.
This time it was like a little dated, but still, I did enjoy it. So I say, and it makes me want to watch the Blade 2 and 3 because I don't think I ever saw them. So
The Queen of the Damned, is that the third one, or is that totally something different?
no, that's actually Anne Rice book series.
Queen of the Damned has nothing to do with
Vampire.
My bad.
And all those, which is actually great books. But anyway,
I just want to say very quickly how cool it was to see a bullet dodging scene pre-Matrix.
And his whole outfit is like pretty neat.
Yeah, I think Khamunaki watched this movie and came out with Matrix. Is what happened.
Well, it came out like the next year, so they were already
probably that's true.
But I just feel like it was so 90s. Like that really was like the quintessential cool 90s.
The other kind of like echo that I noticed, there's the scene where he's fighting Quinn and he pushes his face up against the subway as he's going by.
Yeah.
That was
very Spider-Man 3.
It was.
Yeah.
What
is next month's movie?
Next month's movie. Let's get the cover ready to go, and then
I want to see it.
All right, you ready for the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll look up next month's movie.
I know next month's movie.
I want the teaser. I want the teaser for next month's movie.
Ooh, all right, so first off, what? Here we go. Here comes the cover. Step
cover.
One.
Does it have fangs?
Boom.
Ooh.
Yes.
Boom.
Z-rated means there's boobies, guys. In case you didn't know.
And I want to compliment Son. One, this is just a phenomenal cover, but how like deep the red is.
Yeah.
Like she managed to capture that glow, that like New Line Cinema logo red.
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
I am digging
Can I show the poster just for comparison's sake, Noah?
Sure.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, I like that.
That kicks ass.
Okay, I like that.
And I like the dragon in the background.
Behind him? Or is that
It's
Frost?
Supposed to be Frost, yeah, I think.
Those are some lady eyes.
The lashes.
I gotta
drop the link. I don't know if the link's live yet. That would help if I had it. Sarah, if you're watching, please drop the link.
Sarah, shout out, who is stranded in the state of Delaware.
Yeah.
We miss
not
you,
Florida.
Yeah.
Your car's getting fixed, Sarah.
Let me see if we have the link. There is a movie club link with all the other covers, but I don't see the new cover. So
I want to see a teaser.
Here's a teaser.
That could be so many movies. Shoot.
Huh.
That could be so many movies.
You have any idea?
Independence Day.
Underworld.
We already did Underworld. I hate Underworld.
I'll give you a hint.
It's
Keanu.
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 He goes fast.
Tricks.
The one where he is a dog.
He goes fast.
What is it called?
Speed.
Speed.
It's Speed.
Yeah.
Speed. Oh, you can't just click that.
Speed?
Speed! We got a
Speed.
bus, and if we don't stop this bus, it's gonna blow up, and we're on the bus.
Yo, I don't know if I ever saw Speed.
Oh my God, Sandra Bullock's breakout performance.
Oh
Wait.
man.
I've never seen Speed, and
I
I'll
haven't
be
either.
honest, I don't know if I'm looking forward
What?
to it.
Oh, it's great.
I've seen it like from like the middle to the end, actually. So
Speed.
not all the way
Oh.
through.
Okay.
The bus can't go below, I think, 60, or it blows up. I mean, come on.
Can't wait.
Easy. You guys are
Well,
going.
take tons of vitamin D, C, and zinc, my friend.
I will.
Yeah, Jake,
Thank
please heal up. Go do
Go
something.
home.
He is home, I hope.
No, I'm not. I'm at the office, man.
Oh my God, everybody's infected. Okay, well, thank God I'm not there. I love you guys.
Wait a minute. We
Yes.
can't talk about Blade without showing this GIF.
Did you say GIF?
GIF, whatever the hell it is.
No, you did not.
Hey, Jim,
You're a
forget.
you're a
I never know what to
you're-
call
Jiffer.
it. Well, on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed Blade. Great seeing everybody.
My favorite part about this entire movie club today was Brian's new mustache.
It's a very
What?
nice mustache.
It was gorgeous.
Wait until everybody see me, Ralph, Noah, and David Wohl this weekend.
Oh yeah,
Austin in Texas.
Flying out
Yeah.
tomorrow.
we'll be in Austin at GalaxyCon. Krystle refuses to drive 2 hours to come see us.
It's
Pat,
3. It's 3
Whatever.
hours.
Whatever.
That's nothing.
Maybe Krystle will make an appearance. We never know. You never know.
No.
Not doing it.
I'll
right, guys.
buy you some overpriced convention food.
We'll see you this weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Love.
Bye. Bye.
Peace.
Love.